right. Good morning and welcome everybody to the Dental Hygiene Basics podcast. So excited to be here today. My name is Dana. I'm your host, and we have our incredible guest, Richard Robinson, here with us today. Hi, Richard. Thank you for being here.
Hey, how you doing this morning, Dana? Glad to be
Yeah.
here.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to be here. I just came across your profile on TikTok and now I'm like, we're friends, whether you realize it or not. We're friends now. And
Friends forever.
Yes, so excited to have you on and to share a little bit about your RDH origin story. So that's really my first question. How did you get into wanting to be a dental hygienist? Tell us about kind of those early years that got you to this point.
It's crazy, it is not even rocket science. Like, I wasn't one of those people who grew up saying, I'm going to be a dentist, I'm going to be a hygienist. I'm older than most hygienists, starting off. I graduated at the age of 42. And so, yeah, so what got me into it was that I was parting ways with my previous employer. Didn't have a plan at all. So went to the dentist, it's time for my routine checkup. And the hygienist was just telling me about, her work-life balance, the flexibility. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. She's like really pumping this up. So after I left, I called my wife. I'm sitting in the car. I said, hey, I want to clean teeth. And she's like, "You wanna be a hygienist?" And I'm like, "Whatever that lady up there was doing, that's what I wanna do," because she seemed happy and excited about her profession. So we found a job. We found a, school here locally that had the program here in Little Rock, Arkansas, and I needed some prereqs. I was a nursing major prior, got kicked out of that program, another story, but ended up going back, taking my prereqs, and got into the, dental hygiene program, and the rest is history.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Just like all of a sudden, a twist of fate one day. So I call those people dental hygiene heroes, the ones that inspire you and make you think maybe that is the path that I want to go down. We all have a hygiene angel out there who kind of helps get us on that track. I love that. What were you working in previously?
Where do we start? Let's see. So before hygiene, I was a marketing insight specialist for a local television station. And then I did a lot of retail management before that. And then before that, I was an entrepreneur. I had my own women's clothing store for about 6 or 7 years. So I've
Wow.
always been customer service focused, and dental hygiene kind of like segues into that. It's just I'm using my hands, but I'm educating. So it's all in the same realm. Yeah.
Yes, I do tell people that a lot. I'm like, if you have a background in customer service, you're already like, one step ahead when it comes to being a dental hygienist because customer management is a huge part. I mean, we call them patients, but they are essentially customers. So that's such a great point. Okay, and then I also have to ask the nursing school. When did that happen? When was that on your journey?
That was like okay, so I was talking to a young lady and after high school, and she said she wanted to be an RN. I didn't know what an RN was, but I just knew I wanted to go to school with her and do what she did. And so I took the prereqs and got into the nursing program. And after the first semester, it wasn't for me. They pretty much kicked me out because my grades were not up to par. I wanted to party, I mean, I'm a typical college kid. I wanted to party, have fun. I didn't take it seriously. So I had to like, take a step back, reevaluate life. Did a couple of other things as I mentioned, and then I found dental hygiene. So it's
Yeah.
all full circle. Yeah.
Love that. I know. And I like to tell, maybe those parts of the story that sometimes we're like, I don't know if I want to talk about that. I mean, I always say I'm a reform party girl. I had fun in college. My grades
Yeah.
showed it. But when I got into dental hygiene school, I was like, I'm on the right path. This is where I'm
Yes.
supposed to be. Everything that happened before that was learning and just life moments that I had to go through. And then once I got into dental hygiene, it was like, boom, I felt like nothing could stop me. I was on the right track. I was right where I was supposed to be. So I like sharing that story. Well, I have a few rapid fire questions, and then I definitely want to get into what you're up to today. So you mentioned you went to school in Little Rock. What was the name of your school, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah. UAMS, the University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences.
Okay, perfect. And do you remember what your GPA was when you applied?
When I applied, oh wow. Okay, so real quick. A lot of people don't know that I have severe dyslexia and severe test anxiety. So I didn't learn how to read and comprehend until I was 36, Dana.
Wow.
Yeah, so all that time when I was in high school, the nursing program, it was a struggle for me.
Mm,
And so my wife saw me reading to my daughter one day. And so she was like, babe, something's not right, with you pronouncing these words and you skipping words. And I knew it deep down inside, something wasn't there. So I took it upon myself to get with a tutor. It's called the Arkansas Literacy Council, and they got me a tutor. And I met with this guy named Stu every Sunday, and we read word for word, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, and for like 6 months straight. And so I got a better grasp on how my brain worked and how I can make it my superpower, right? So
Yes.
I took that when I went into taking my prereqs for the dental hygiene program, and I dominated because I knew what I needed and I had the resources. I had that extra time. I had that isolated room to where I wouldn't get anxious by looking at the clock. So I took those prereqs, and I got into dental hygiene program with a 3.8. So, like, it's possible, for those students out there who struggle with learning disabilities, tell the school that you can get accommodations. You don't have to suffer in silence. You
Yeah.
don't.
I am so glad that you shared that. Thank you for sharing that because I know that's a personal part of your story, but I know that there's a student out there who's going through that and maybe they don't even realize until they hear what you
Mhm.
said. I didn't even realize, but maybe deep down I always knew learning, studying, reading was a struggle for me, but there are resources and there's help and I'm a firm believer in anything you want to get better at, you can get better at it, but you do have to learn yourself. And I've been on a journey of self-discovery for the last few years, like trying to understand how my brain works. I have OCD, and so
Mhm.
I think of it the same as my superpower. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's what makes me excellent at my job. But if I don't understand it or have a control on it, it can take you down a different path that makes life more of a struggle. So I'm so happy that you did that. And yeah, to go in with a 3.8 GPA, I mean, that's just rocket. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And did you get in on your first try?
I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but
You could tune
yeah.
it. You could tune it. I love it. Yeah, no, you should. You should celebrate your wins. That's incredible. So once you got into dental hygiene school, I mean, you were a little bit older, which is great because I love to share different pathways, different ages. Some people like I was 25 and I was one of the oldest in my class when I went. So it's always fun to have someone who approached it at a little bit later age. And I do think that the older you are, I always say the more developed your frontal lobe, which means you're gonna
Yeah.
just you're thinking about life differently, right? When
Oh,
we
yeah,
were
absolutely.
yeah, when we were 18, 19, those frontal lobes were not developed. Yeah, I know. I'm like, yes. So once you're in, you have a little bit of footing, background behind you, life experience, but thinking through the costs that were associated with it, if you're comfortable sharing, how did you pay for dental hygiene school?
So the great thing about that was my wife, she's a director at on UAMS. So I got that spouse discount for that.
No.
And then I got a local scholarship. And then with my learning disability, they have a scholarship also. So, I mean, I was fortunate enough to, like, the whole program probably out of pocket cost me $5,000 out of my
Wow.
whole 2-year program. Yeah. So I was blessed to have those scholarships and those means to help out. So, yeah.
That's so important for students to hear. I mean, there are opportunities to get scholarships for things you may not even realize you can get a
Yeah.
scholarship for, right? I think a lot
That,
of people would think, oh, I have OCD. No one, that's a downside, right? That's a negative. But
yeah.
really, there's
It's
probably
not.
someone out there. Yeah, there's probably someone out there who's
Exactly.
given money for, for
Exactly, like, I mean, and the kids nowadays, with ChatGPT, I mean, you're walking around with the computer in your hand. Just keep Googling things. Something's going to come up. Or you may find a foundation, let's just say, well, I'm using American Dental Hygiene Association, right? They have scholarships there. Or if you're trying to get into another field, that field has scholarships. You just have to keep digging. So, but there's money out there.
and I think that's a great segue because I have a scholarship, you have a scholarship, and we're both
Yes,
like,
yes.
sign up for our scholarship. So tell us a little bit about your scholarship.
All right. So the Richard Robinson Endowment Scholarship for minority students entering the dental hygiene program at UAMS. So we are still trying to get it endowed. We're $7,300 away from making it. So if you all want to donate to the scholarship, you can go to the website, that'smilewhy.org, hit the donation button and donate to the scholarship. My goal is to get that endowed with before the fall starts so we can start, giving out funds to those students who are entering the dental hygiene program.
That's amazing. And what made you want to give a scholarship?
Man, it was something that I wanted to do while I was in the program. That was the first thing after I graduated to get that paperwork done because I saw as myself, I was fortunate but I heard other stories of students was like, oh man, this is a struggle. Like, I'm going to be in so much debt. I'm going to do that. So I'm like, okay, I can't pay everybody's full tuition,
Yeah.
but I can kind of like take the burden off of the books or maybe the loops or something like that. So I started the scholarship. We had to raise 25,000 to get it endowed. Like I said, we're on like 7,000 away. So I probably put in about 3,500 of my own money to keep it going and everything. So, and just doing little things. I mean, you came and supported and got the T-shirt, for February. So thank you so much for that. But yeah, just trying to give back. I've always been a giver in life and a fixer. And so, and that could be a gift and a curse too, right? People take advantage of that. So,
Yeah.
but I was something I can do that. And that scholarship's going to be there forever. Like my
Wow.
kids can go to the program and say, hey, my great great grandfather started this. And that's what I want to leave a legacy.
Yeah, I love that. And it's important to have a why, which we're going to talk about my why too in a minute
Mm,
here. And yeah, I think that sometimes you don't realize. I mean, I know for me, I remember after I graduated thinking I got scholarships, right? And I remember the people who gave me scholarships and they invested in me. And that meant a lot to me and it still does. And I thought, I want to invest in the future too. And I want to make someone's life easier because, you get to a point in life where you're like, okay, I've got like the things I need, I can pay for my groceries. That's where I'm at in my
Yes.
life now. And I'm like,
Yes.
I'm ready to bless other people and
Yeah.
help where I was helped when it wasn't so easy, right? So
Yep.
I love that you're doing that and like you said, what an amazing legacy to leave. And beyond that, you're not just leaving the scholarship. Tell us more about My Why, which we're both rocking our My Why shirts.
Yes. Hey, if you don't
Yeah.
have your Mile T-shirt, hey, hit me up. I'll send you one. Hop on the website. I got plenty of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so my why is my nonprofit organization. We're centered around improving oral health in underserved communities through education and community engagement. So what we do is we go to schools, community centers, small colleges, underrepresented areas, and educate them about the importance of oral health. Arkansas ranks at the bottom of the funnel when it comes to oral health, and I see it every day. I saw it when I was in the program, and I'm like, wow, this person is 40 years old or 30 years old and they didn't know how to floss. They didn't know how to brush. They didn't know when to do all these things. And I get it. If it wasn't taught in your home, you're not going to know. I have patients come in who are 22, 23 years old who are already in partials. And I'm just
Mm.
like, wow, like I set them up. Hey, talk to me. Tell me what happened. And it was because they were not educated. And I'm a firm believer education is elevation. So we have to get into these communities these rural areas, the Delta, and plant that seed in these kids and make brushing fun, make oral health fun. But not only that, opening up that window for opportunity to get those minority students in the room. Because as I didn't know that dental hygiene was a profession, they don't know it's a profession. And so what I
Yes.
do is I allow a lot of students to come shadow me at my office. And so, it's spring break. I already had two students come shadow me already. They're steady inboxing me, Mr. Richard, Mr. Richard. And I'm like, hey, it's fine. Let's go. You come hang out with me all day. Lunch is on me. Bring some questions because I want to get them in the room, because minority men, I'm a unicorn walking around here. We're less than 1% in this entire country, So by the time I step away from this profession, I want to be at 5%, 10%, and, just get more of my people into this profession. Yeah.
I love that so much. And I see my own story kind of paralleled in yours. The way that I think your brain works is you're thinking, go to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
Find these kids early, show them, teach them, right? Even just the basic hygiene skills. Maybe they never decide to be a dental hygienist, but they know it's possible now, right? And then, like you said, you have these people coming with you who are interested in the career or who are in the career and they're showcasing what's possible. And I love that because that's where I think I was like, when I was trying to, create this whole business and this platform, mine was reverse engineer, right? How do I get back to the
Yes.
students like when they're first interested? You're even going further than that, which I think is incredible. So I absolutely love what you're doing. So how often are you working clinical? Do you work 5 days a week?
No, I do 3 days. I do Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. We do longer days. I start at 7:30 and end at 6 or 7, or those 3 days. So they're longer days, but they go by so quick. I mean, I love my office. We stay busy. So there's always something to do.
Yeah, that's great. And so when you're not doing that, you're going out to these schools, providing education, mentoring, obviously. So you're a very
Yeah.
busy guy.
Yeah. Staying busy. mean, I have mentees also, so, at least try to talk to them once a week or try to order them something to kind of keep their spirits up because it could be challenging in the program. Most hygiene students are used to getting like A's on all their exams and their quizzes. Hygiene school is a different beast. You get that first C and they think life is over, and by them being younger, 19, 20 and stuff, I was older. So, hey, I can take it. But a
Yeah.
lot of people are not built like that. I can say, it's tough on a few of them. So just to be there to cheer them up, to be there to listen, let them know that this is a safe space. You can be vulnerable and let's walk through it. What happened? Why we didn't pass this class? Is it your study habits? Did you study the wrong material? Did you wait till the last minute? Did you only give 70%? And that's why you got a 70%, So we just try to figure it out.
I love that. I like what you said. Did you give 70%? Because, yeah, what you put in is what you're going to get out. And sometimes there are things that, like you said, or maybe I don't want to say beyond our control, because I think at some point we can take control and take responsibility for us. Recognizing those things, those struggles, like you said, did you study properly? Are you taking care of yourself? And I think the big conversation that I would love to go back to again is that, do you have a struggle? Do you have a learning issue? Do you
Mhm,
need accommodations? Do you need support? Are you struggling with anxiety, depression?
mhm.
That was what got me during hygiene school. The anxiety was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, and everyone's feeling it. You know what is so funny? I did a presentation a couple of years ago, and it was on basically anxiety management in dental hygiene school, and all of the reviews that I got were positive, but one person put, I couldn't relate. Like, I don't have anxiety, and
Okay.
I was shook. I was like, man,
The
what am I?
1%.
Yeah, there's always one.
The 1%. Yes.
I could not even wrap my brain around it because it's like, you and I have very different dental hygiene
Yeah.
experiences.
Oh my gosh. Yes. After I graduated, I don't know if you had the same anxiety, but like I would check my Blackboard or whatever thing we had. Blackboard was a Blackboard thing, but I would check it periodically. I'm like, hold on, I'm not in school anymore. Like I'll wake up, I'll have an exam tomorrow. Like I'm like, no, I passed my boards. I'm done. Like why am I still feeling that anxiety? So yeah.
It is. It's something different, man. I dream about that sometimes where I'm in a class and like the finals happening and I'm like, I haven't been here all semester. Like, what am I doing?
Oh
Oh
my,
man.
we're scarred for
Yeah.
life.
We are. But you know what? We have the scars, but we made it through the other side and that's all that matters. And like look at life now, it's so exciting. What advice, because you obviously have a lot of advice. You have mentees that you're helping. Do you have like one key piece of advice that you give students who are in dental hygiene school?
Yeah, I just tell them like, remember your why, when the program feels challenging. Like literally remember your why. Like before they get accepted and get that letter of acceptance, like get you a why. And that why can't be, oh yeah, I just wanna, make money and look cute in scrubs. No, like get you a strong why that's gonna get you to tear up. Like that's gonna like you know in your throat, when your throat gets a little tight and you feel like you're gonna cry, get you a why that's strong. And when I don't want to get out of bed, I don't want to go to class. Think about that why. That why is going to get you up. It's going to get you to class and you're going to make it through. But it has to be a strong why. And once you cross that stage, you're going to be like, wow, I did it. I tell
Mhm.
students all the time, they're like, Richard, how'd you make it through? I said, when I signed up, when I got my letter, that energy I had when I first got my either email and the letter is the same energy I carried all the way through the program. Because I saw myself graduating when I got that letter. I visualized myself crossing that stage. So I knew I was going to win regardless. I knew I was going to win because I saw the vision. You got to have the vision. You got to have a why. And that's my why.
That is so powerful, and it really mirrors a lot of what I try and put out to the world. You have to know why you're doing something, and then you have to visualize it, and the visualization is a very powerful tool. I always tell my students, I'm like, you're walking across the stage, you take the
Mhm.
tassel and you move it to the other side. I'm like, if you could see that on your darkest days, right,
Yeah,
you're going to get there. It may
yeah.
not look like how you thought it was going to look, but you're going to get there.
You're
Right.
going to get there. You're going to get
Yeah, and I
there.
love the why discussion. I was on a student panel a few weeks ago and, we were talking about, because someone said basically, like, how do you keep going? Right?
Mhm.
All of us, we were doing very different things in the field. And they were like, how do you keep going? We all said, we have a very powerful why. A lot of us are helping a former version of ourselves. What we
Exactly.
needed, yeah, what we needed,
Yes.
we were helping. But I said it can be hard when you're first trying to think, what is my why? What is my true passion? I
Mhm,
think you start with that initial inkling, right? Like you
mhm.
said, it's like this is what I want to do, but it has to be more than the scrubs, the bags you're going to buy, whatever it is that
Yeah.
you're planning on getting. It has to be so much greater than that. And then
Mhm,
from there, I think you start locking in, right? Because I think a lot
mhm.
of people just think, well, I've got here now, I've got my degree, okay, that's it, right? And I just think that
Right, right.
there's so much more for all of us, whether it's in your personal life or your professional. Like for you, it's my why. For me, it's
Mhm.
dental hygiene basics and the scholarship. But all of that came from our experiences throughout life, right? The why got stronger as you lean into it. Is that kind of how you feel?
Yes, yes, and, I know we talked about it previously, but, people with the burnout and everything, they look at being a hygienist as a job. It's a hobby for me. It's my being a hygienist is a hobby. I just get paid for it, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll cash that check. You want me
Yeah.
here 3 days a week?" It's a hobby. So, I love what I do. I don't go to work saying, "Oh, I'm going to this job again, and got clean teeth." No, I have fun at work. I don't know about everybody else, but I'm in my bubble. I'm on the highway headed to work, listening to Taylor Swift or whatever, like I am rolling, and when I get off work, I have that same energy. Like because it's because it's what I signed up for. You know,
Yes.
so I take that every day. When I get off work, I'll work on my nonprofit because it's what I want to do. It's my passion. Just try to reinvent the wheel. Like if giving back is your thing, give back. If it's not your thing, you want to start a hygiene clothing line, you want to start your podcast. Find something to do outside of just being a clinical hygienist because you will get burnt out. You
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, I love that. You have such a zest for life and for I think your career as well, and it's refreshing to see that because I feel that way inside,
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
there's this song and it says something, it's like I'm on vacation every single day cuz I love my
Yes, yes, yes.
occupation,
Hey,
right?
hey, yes, I love
and
that.
and I listen to that and you think about when you're on a boat or something, right? And you just have to course correct, right? Because the
Yeah.
waves will try and push you, but you just course correct and you keep, you stay on your path, right? And what I do is I course correct. I'm like, I feel myself getting pushed away from my why, or I feel myself being pulled into something that maybe isn't an alignment, right? And I just course
Right.
correct and I lean harder into those things that make me happy. And the things that come out of that are just crazy because your life is better, but like everything you do is better. I can't really explain it, but I feel
Yeah.
like I see that in you for sure.
Yes, thank you. That same analogy right there, I call it clearing your cache and cookies. Just clear your cache and cookies. Yeah, I
I love
love it.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to clear it all out sometimes and just get back to fresh.
Get back to the basics. Get back to
Yeah.
hey, it's not as rocket science. Like I wasn't the first one to start a nonprofit. I didn't know how to start a nonprofit. I went on TikTok and typed in how do you start a nonprofit? True story. I didn't know. And up step by step and I made it happen. So anything is possible. You just gotta figure out what's your why.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it so much. Richard, thank you so much for being here, sharing your story. If you're a
Oh,
student in Arkansas, absolutely look up my why, look into Richard's scholarships and, hopefully soon, right? By fall. That's
yes,
the
by the
goal.
fall.
Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
yes.
Yeah, I love it. Well, where can students find you to learn more about you and my why?
Yeah, so on Facebook, we're on My Y. On TikTok, we're on at Richard Robinson RDH. And on IG, we're at My Y, the number one ST. So yeah, you
Okay.
can find
Perfect.
that. Or you can go to the website, that'smyy.org, and learn all about us. All our social media handles are on there. Click that donation button. You can donate to My Y, or you can donate to the Richard Robinson Endowment Scholarship.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I was also thinking too, could this be an opportunity, let's say, for students who are applying to dental hygiene school, they want to get in and they need some community service, they want to get involved. Could this be something they could do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing events from now until the end of this year. So if they want to contact me about, just getting some hours in, or if they want to come by the clinic and shadow, like feel free to contact me. We're going to work something now. We're going to conversate. We're going to have coffee, and I want to learn more about your why. So yeah,
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much, Richard, for everything you do for the profession, for the future of our profession. We really appreciate it. And thanks for sharing your story today.
hey, thank you for your time. I appreciate you as well.